one knows who the heck I am. That's okay. We broadcast on Everfree Network every Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern, and we review and we kind of interview some people. Maybe you know of Laura Shigihara from Plants vs. Zombies. Yeah, that was our latest one. That was pretty cool. We also have done Kimlin Tran and a bunch of other people in indie games. I want to kick it over to you, Geldshot.
Hi, I'm Geldshot of the Gaming Colts. We have somewhere around a monthly podcast, but primarily we focus on promoting games within the fandom and showing things off. This last week, week before last, we put on a game jam and we're showcasing the games down in the games room right now. If you go in there and you see a computer off to the side, it's got a bunch of games from the game jam that you can pull up and play. Hey, Ludwig, you want to introduce yourself?
Hi, everybody. Hi, everybody. Just walking in. My name is Ludwig Padius. This is my first time on a panel. I am a designer for the Gaming Colts. I was also one of the judges on the Game Jam. You forgot to add "and beyond" to that last statement. We promote games within the fandom and beyond, but mainly in the fandom.
Hi, I'm Gabuix. I'm the creative director on My Little Investigations, which is a Ace Attorney Investigations-inspired My Little Pony fan game. I love you too.
Hi, I'm Jen McGregor, or MemJ0123 on YouTube, and I'm kind of all over the place. I voice act in the fandom. Both, yeah, for various things.
You should do a voice. Just give them a taste of what you do.
Hold on. Not that princess.
I know. I know. Okay.
Oh, fine. We got Mr. No Fun over here.
Well, if you don't know, I mainly do Princess Celestia. I do an impression of Princess Celestia in the fandom.
Yeah, it's an impression that loves cake.
And I'm my Silly Philly Studios friends are right in the front row here. I'm with them.
Yeah, I hate to interrupt the fun, but how about that snowdrop?
Yeah, snowdrop. Yeah, and I do gaming voices as well, game mods, narration, that kind of thing. I've done that as well. Yeah, that's what I do.
Hello, I'm Kit. I'm the 2D lead with Legends of Equestria. We're a pony MMO RPG, and right now we're set up down in the gaming room. Well, we're set up, and the game is running just splendidly. There are a lucky few who managed to get through our login server. Our login server is kind of choking on the thousands of people that are trying to get in.
And I am James Weimer, otherwise known as Tall Tale. I'm the creative director, project lead designer for My Little Pony Role Playing is Magic. It's a tabletop pony role-playing game.
There are a lot of people that make mods, games, variations of games. Like I think Meredith made a apples to apples version. It was Pony to Pony.
Yes.
And then we played another questionable card game that we won't mention. Yes.
I think everyone knows that one.
That I want to mention right now that was great.
Get the mic on then. Jeez.
There was another game. Well, I don't know if I'm allowed to mention it because it was like a really fan game. It's a fanny game. Okay, fine. I'll mention it.
If it's safe for Phillies.
Well, yeah, that inherently makes it safer.
Not everything goes on in the game room safe for Phillies.
So there was a game in the board game room that I had just happened to peruse by, and it was called Twilight's Secret Shipping Files.
Yeah, we're not going any farther. All right, so upon my hours and hours and more hours of video editing in the past 2 weeks for EFN and also my own show and several other shows that want stuff done, I've come up with a little interesting video I think Tall Tale will love. If it'll play.
All right, thumbs up. Ready, guys? Let's do this. Leroy Jenkins!
Let's do this.
Not to one up you guys or anything, but I think I got a better intro.
You know what? Nah.
How many hours do you have to spend to one up us?
$40.
What?
We kind of cheated. do gotta say, your guys' is pretty cool for being handmade and whatnot. So that's pretty cool. Just wondering though, do we have MLP Tales in this room yet? We're looking for a voice actress who hasn't shown up yet. I'm trying to single her out.
Yes.
Yeah, put her on the spot like Pinkie Pie. Gabu, your game is just hilarious, I swear. And by the way, when I was looking at your footage here, I immediately loved putting food songs to this. It was amazing. Thank you very much.
Such a long, long way, and I've watched you from that very first
You got a question. Diamond Dog, playable race, maybe?
to see what you might
The only playable races will be
see what you've been through, and all the ways you've made
That would be the lion's share of intro space.
So you're saying we can't play as Crystal Ponies?
All right, okay. No.
Gallstaff, you have entered the door to the north. You are now by yourself, standing in a dark room. The pungent stench of mildew emanates from the wet dungeon walls.
Where are the Cheetos?
Right next to you,
I cast a spell. Where's the Mountain Dew?
in the fridge, duh!
I want to cast a spell.
Can I have a Mountain Dew? Yes, you can have a Mountain Dew, just go get it.
No stars tonight?
Okay, hold on a second here. You told me you didn't have any play footage, so I immediately came up with the one thing in my years of playing D&D that immediately said, what's going to go on a weeknight of this? And...
Oh, yeah, that's surprisingly accurate.
Yeah.
I guess I'm a little out of practice.
Tell you what, I'll do the stars tonight if you help me with the sunrise in the morning.
Okay.
There is nothing in this world quite so amazing as the first winter's snow. The first few
Yes,
flakes falling
many
from the
tears of
sky,
liquid pride have been shed.
signifying a great change.
Liquid pride.
When you decide not to be lame anymore, give me a call. Lyra? That kills people, Lyra. Anything you can do, I can do better.
Rated P for every pony.
Now, this game actually interests me, and I'm kind of waiting for Tails to show up so I can talk about this, because this reminds me of Sonic the Hedgehog.
I think it was supposed to be
Caitlin, you really need to get on the mic when you're talking, man. I'm serious, man.
Okay, I'm trying to do the sharing.
Share it, yeah, but you gotta, just talk
fine.
and then push it over.
I believe it was designed like
You
that
don't
once.
need to look at him when you're talking. You can look at the audience. The audience does exist.
Oh.
What? Hi, audience! All right, and that's my intro of welcome to our panel, because really, I've got nothing else better to do on the weekend. Well, besides get my ELO rating up. But that doesn't matter. And doesn't exist because, yeah. Anyway, all right, so everybody knows what good games are and what bad games are. I can list several bad games in the past 5 years, like a certain amazing American that is going to kick, flank, and chew bubblegum. Oh, yeah, see, everybody knows what I'm talking about here. And there's several good games, like anyone play Bayonetta? There's another good game, but here's the one that kind of gets the room split in half. So how about that Mass Effect 3 ending?
Do you really want to bring that up here? Of all places?
I don't know. I kind of want to see the muffins get thrown.
My favorite color is blue.
I like green.
All right, so there's a lot of different ways to make a good game and make a bad game, and the best thing to do is to make it so people can enjoy playing it. I mean, I still play Mega Man 2. I do not play Duke Nukem Forever anymore at all. It has collected dust. It is now my coaster for every spilled drink I need. But anyway, the gaming cults here put on a Crystal Games challenge not too long ago, and I just want to know, real quick, Gil, why go through all that editing, all that reviewing, all that stuff, Do you love games that much?
Yes, games matter. They really do.
That's all they get?
I can add on to that.
They're awesome. I mean, it's really great to make games. Oh, jeez, you just put me on the spot like that.
I could help you. If
You're welcome.
Yeah, we have a whole panel.
Ludwig!
So the main thing behind the gaming cults is that we really like games, and that games matter. They're a relevant art form that can bring people together and can give them these unique experiences that you can't get from looking at art or listening to music. It's kind of a thing that's all of its own, right? And the reason why we decided to go through all of that reviewing and all of the editing is because we want to show you guys, the fans, that games can be a relevant part of the fandom, any fandom, just as much as any other art form that's currently dominating that any other sort of fandom. That's more or less why.
I mean, does anybody know of a little fandom called Toho?
So the interesting thing about Toho, I don't know.
Yeah, interesting thing about Toho. I said some choice words last night because I got all the way up to the secret last boss, and yeah.
So
Toho is a bullet shooting. It's a shooting bullet. You said it, not me.
It's an on rails game, like I would say Star Fox, but more like in the 2D plane, right? So what makes Toho stand out is that the characters and the planes, as it be, shoot out really interesting bullet patterns, and the art of the game is either looking at the patterns and trying to dodge through them.
Just to let you know, this guy studies game design, so he will talk your ear off if you ever give him a chance.
Okay, the one thing I want to add about Toho, the main thing that has stayed through the years, even if the games aren't played anymore or anything like that, is the music. It has such great sound design. And I could literally go through a list of people that have such great orchestration or sound designers. But I'd like to pass it down to Gabu here and talk a little bit about my investigations here, because that comes on later today, right?
Yep, we have a panel at 5 p.m. today.
5 p.m., okay. So question is, more Pinkie Pie?
Probably less Pinkie Pie.
Less Pinkie Pie?
Well, we already showed you Pinkie Pie the last panel.
Oh,
We want
okay.
to show you new stuff. I mean, there will be Pinkie Pie, just not as much.
I was going to say, if you say no Pinkie Pie, I'm already seeing people getting ready to leave. So, I mean, but anyway, My Little Investigations, it's an Ace, was it Ace Attorney? I've never played them because, really, to be honest with you, sitting in a break room and yelling objection,
well, you don't
doesn't look good for work morale.
You don't have to yell objection. That's just there if you want to.
What's the point of not using it? But anyway,
there's more to the game than yelling objection.
So you clearly like the Ace Attorney series. You clearly like that I guess you could say Miss-style click investigation stuff. So what's the next step, since you can't really talk too much about it? I don't want you to go too in depth because your panel is later and then you're not going to have anything to talk about and all these people are just going to be like But anyway. What's the plan for it? Are you just going to keep bringing out cases as you can, or are you just going to go with one story and stop?
So basically, like the Ace Attorney games are divided up into individual cases where a crime happens and you investigate evidence, interrogate people, so forth, and you solve the crime, then you go on to the next one. And My Little Investigations is pretty much going to be the same way, where once we're done with our current case, then we already are well into planning on the second one.
Well, I
won't say anything about it, but we are well in planning on it.
I mean, plenty of balls for a ball emergency, right?
Pardon?
Plenty of balls for a ball emergency?
Oh, of course.
What about a muffin emergency?
Derpy takes care of that.
All right, Jen, you're a VA. We all know you. I hope we all. Did we all know Jen?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, she can't hear you. I mean, it's going over her head. Can you say that a little louder? Hey, we made a joke that we were going to go Disneyland, and if she couldn't fit on the ride, she's going to stand on my shoulders.
That works. I'm cool with that.
At least you're not chocolate.
I'm not sure if I understand that, and I'm not sure if I want to.
Anyway, Jen, you're a VA of many talents, mostly Princess Celestia people know you of. What's it like to do a video game voice a little bit?
Oh, I've had different experiences with voicing in video games. one game mod I did recently, I recorded a total of, I think it was nearly 200 lines, and that was exhausting. But it is fun, and I gained an appreciation of the work and effort that goes into making video games. And I think through this fandom, I'm slowly becoming a gamer myself, even though beforehand I was totally like, nope, games, what? I don't understand. How do I shoot?
Yeah, we saw your Gmod playthrough.
Yeah. If anyone see my my Gmod video, I am totally lost with games. And but no, I have done narration as well, and that's sort of similar to other animation types like I do with Silly Philly Studios. And yeah, I've had different experiences, but it's always been a lot of fun.
Okay. All right, it's your turn now, Mr. Legends of Equestria, Kit.
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to ask a very, I would say deep, but it's not really that deep. I mean, come on, I'm a gamer. It's fast, quick. Why an MMO? I mean, that's got a lot of back into it. I mean, a lot.
Yes, we were very ambitious at the beginning. We knew that this would be a tremendous challenge, bringing in the talent that we would need. We built up a team, the whole project, up to 80 people at one point. Right now, we're a little over 50 active members. And yet, at the same time, with that many people, we're still kind of moving at a snail's pace with little spurts here and there. And the MMO aspect, well, we just wanted to create a world that allowed players to, as best we could, immerse themselves in Equestria. And we knew that it would take a long time, so we haven't quite reached alpha, as people will notice when they play our game. But we'll get there.
Hey, you gotta expect bugs. I mean, World of Warcraft wasn't built in a day, so it just seems a little weird because MMOs require a lot of people to run them and a lot of work. I GN for a lot of games. I don't know if anybody's played RuneScape or World of Warcraft or Runes of Magic, but yeah, I was one of those jerks that kind of banned you, maybe. So
Maybe.
Just maybe.
Yeah, well, a lot of what goes on behind the scenes is really managing things, administrative stuff, really the boring paperwork kind of stuff. I mean, we don't literally have papers cut from trees, but we do have a lot of forms that we have on private locations on the internet where our members have to go through, read them, understand what their responsibilities are. It's really like a company, although we're not officially a company.
Well, gee, imagine that. Well, speaking of paperwork, that kind of goes into my next question. Tall Tale, who wastes a lot of paper, wastes a lot of paper and dice, because, they get thrown sometimes. D4s are notoriously bad for drunk roommates, so...
So, you mean caltrops?
Yeah. Just a little bit. Yeah, just a little bit. They kind of hurt. Why a D&D spinoff is my question, because that takes a lot of planning, like too much to even calculate what could go into it, what could go wrong, what a player could do or what they can't do, kind of stuff.
Right. Well, tabletop games they're a long-time love of mine. But mostly it was at the time that we had the idea for Role-Playing is Magic. It started with myself and my roommate. And we were looking around and saw a lot of people were starting up, video games and like MMOs, and there were some great projects out there. But that for the most part, tabletop games were, I wouldn't say underrepresented, but they were mostly mods on existing systems. Like the Savage World of My Little Pony is a great one. I love that one. And got some ideas, stole.
Borrowed.
Wow, well, honesty. Right? Yeah.
Go on, Dollar.
But we saw a lot of mods for systems, and that's great, but the only problem with that is that My Little Pony, as we all know, is just so wildly different from most of the things that we're used to and most of the media that we're exposed to. So we had the thought of it was always going to be a lot of work, but you just have to make an entirely new thing and reconsider how a tabletop game is played and what it represents and what each thing does and how the players are going to be motivated and what they're going to be motivated by. So it was partially that there was the opportunity there to create the game, and partially, I don't know, the challenge. The challenge is really nice, like something difficult.
I remember hearing an interview with Gary Gygax once, and I got to ask the same question that the radio interviewer asked him. How much sleep did you actually have completing this project?
Well, okay, that's kind of a hard question because we do. It's not just role-playing as Magic. We do role-playing as Magic. We do a new edition after every season of the show. So this is now the third one, and I've actually got stuff on our fourth one here that I've been working on the whole trip. So it's never stopped. It doesn't come to an end.
Well, look at you, Mr. Productive. Geez, make me look bad.
Yeah,
God,
I'm falling asleep.
Trying to
right
take
now.
a break and ask questions, and you're over there like, idea.
That's like every developer and designer.
Yeah, thank you.
You have to have
know.
a notepad. Just like you have to write down ideas and then get them down and then focus on what you're actually
Try not
doing.
to feel so bad about it.
Yeah, no, I'm here to take notes, steal from you guys. So.
Because game development.
Don't use D4s.
Because game development.
Check.
All right, so we got a latecomer here, and I'm going to call her out because, the panel started a little while ago. Hey, Tails.
Hi.
How you doing?
I'm all right.
I've actually seen you around a bit. So
Yeah,
you're
I'm one
a
of the
VA.
staff members, so
Yeah, you're a VA of sorts. So,
Yes.
Can you go into what you do a little bit, like besides Project Dash, because we're going to talk about that a little bit later.
Okay. Basically, I just kind of look on Pony forums, YouTube, PonyChan, and whatever for projects, and then I just kind of volunteer, and then sometimes I don't get a reply at all for anything, and sometimes they're like, yeah, I really love all your voices.
Well, that's like that with every VA, just about. I mean, there's got to be some rules that Tara Strong hasn't even gotten in, even though she's like everywhere. She voiced my 90s. So, I mean, video game voice acting, from what I've heard from Danielle McRae, who I don't know if anybody's played Skullgirls at all. Skullgirls? Anybody know Painwheel? Yeah, that's her. And she says that her throat killed her for weeks. So, like, why video game voice acting? Like, do you do light stuff, or do you kind of do like the heavier fight noises kind of stuff?
I will do whatever people ask. My thing is, sometimes I get asked to read for. I do more than just games. Sometimes I do fanfic readings and such, and they're like, "Well, here's the fanfic. You can read it." And I'm like, "I don't have time to read this 100,000 word fanfic. Just send me a script and tell me what you want exactly." Which is kind of how it works in the real world. People are like, did you see this Pony episode? And they're like, I just did my voices. I haven't.
All right, I want to let you guys ask a little bit of questions because you're here too. I mean, you guys are staff and creators too. I thought we were co-hosting this panel to begin with.
Oh.
But oh. But yeah, I mean, I've got a ton of questions. I could literally spend 3 hours asking you all because there's a lot that can go into a game, but I'm going to cut it down real quick here. You gaming cults, you guys actually do game development yourself. What is the hardest thing about coming up with a game idea?
Everybody has a ton of ideas. And the hardest part is getting something that, taking those ideas, cutting them down, and making sure that you don't do too much. Because if you've got one person, you have a very huge limit to what you can actually get done. And even if you've got 10 people, there's still a huge limit to what you can get done. So to me, the biggest problem you'll run into with game development is just getting the proper scope and trying to keep it within that scope. And the sooner when you get a game done, that means you can move on to the next one.
For me, the hardest part about coming up with about getting an idea is that you have to evaluate each and every idea that you get from a design perspective. Like, how long is it going to take to implement this idea, and you have to explore it and figure out what makes this fun for the player and what makes it unique for people to play. Like, I could literally spit out an idea about a guy who astral projects in his sleep, and you have to make a puzzle platformer based on how he astral projects. But like, you have to evaluate like what makes this fun for the player. Like, why am I because the thing that you don't want to see as a developer is a player or as a designer or any person making a game is just someone sit there, play your game, and go, I don't understand. Why am I playing this?
I'm going to ask the game developers here. Next question. It's kind of, I think every gamer kind of hates. So how, have you thought about those intros that teach you the entire game within the first 30 minutes so you can't skip it, and how you can avoid that? And I want to pose this question to you, Kit, and then Gabu, you next.
How to get the player quickly into the game?
How to get the player into game, less time, and if they already know what they're doing, how to skip it. Like, do you have that implementation, and what do you think about the games that actually make you go through all that?
Well, it is a difficult balance for us because we want to make it as open as possible, but at the same time, there does need to be some kind of motivation behind it. So we do have a main storyline, but at the same time, it's optional. We have secondary quests, but at the same time, it's optional. And even at the very beginning, the introduction, when you come into the game as a new player, you start out without a cutie mark. And the very first obvious thing is to earn a cutie mark. But at the same time, we want it possible for players to have a character that doesn't have a cutie mark. It just stays a very young horse. And so we have to think about, how is the game still going to work? How is it still going to be balanced? And for example, that issue with being able to play without a cutie mark, well, the thing that balances that out is that one account can have multiple characters, multiple ponies, so they can still experience the rest of the game when they play through it with their other characters that are earning their cutie marks.
All right, Gabu, it's your turn.
Yeah, definitely. The hardest part in this is basically your game. Your game is going to have a very wide variety of audiences. Like, I've heard from people who've played My Little Investigations. There have been people who have literally never played any Ace Attorney game before in their life or anything like it, and there are people who have played through all of them. And the people in the former bucket are, they come into the game and they're just like, oh gosh, how do? They don't understand anything. Whereas the people in the latter bucket, understand everything that's going on and are going to be kind of annoyed by being, handheld through each step. So basically, the primary thing that we wanted to do is first we wanted to make the instructions incremental. When you first get into the game, you get told about how to move and how to look at evidence, and that's it. And then you can play the game. You can start interacting with the game, and then as you start interacting with things like talking to players or talking to characters and looking at evidence and stuff like that, then Pinkie Pie comes back and starts giving you more. So basically, the player gets to play in between the tutorial introduction stuff. Which I think helps a lot in terms of make it not feel like such a huge drudgery.
So you mean it's not like maybe like Witcher or anything like that, where it tells you what to do during a loading screen? Because we all love loading screens, right, guys? Yeah. No.
Those are my beautiful loading screens.
While we scramble in the background to get all of your files and levels, here is some pretty art.
Yeah, we designed My Little Investigation specifically to have as few loading screens as possible. It's basically set up so that it'll need to load a few things. It'll need to load a few things right at the start, and then it'll get right into it. But basically, so we wanted to make the introduction stuff integrated, but we also kind of wanted to make it a part of the experience, something to be enjoyed as opposed to just a thing that is just like I get very annoyed when games take a long period of time to
Tell you what to do, yeah. I mean, it's different because it's Pinkie Pie just like coming up out of nowhere, telling you exactly what to do, and Twilight's like,
Yeah, exactly.
What? I do what?
Yeah, I find it very, very disconcerting when like in the first 30 minutes of the game you'll walk like 2 feet and then you'll be completely like pulled by forcibly out of the experience to tell you something. We really wanted to avoid that as much as possible.
Not everything could be Mega Man X.
Yeah.
What is Final Fantasy 13?
And
yes, I did.
Typically, I expect some interaction in my interactive experiences.
And lastly, for people who really, really, really know what they're doing, the final game will have an option to basically just turn tutorials off and just allow the player to play the game.
Well, that's great. I want to ask the VA something real quick, if you don't mind, Caitlin, because you've been rocking that mic since before we started. So.
I'll shut up now.
Okay, we've already went over the basics of VAing, and I'm sure you've been asked multiple times, what's it like to be a VA, or can you voice my favorite character kind of stuff. So I won't ask that. Mainly, I want to ask is, do you both play video games? What kind, and what's your favorite? And I'll start with Tails, since she was the latecomer.
I do play video games. I prefer classic gaming. Actually, if you go down to the gaming room, that Super Nintendo and the Sega Genesis are both mine.
I'm jealous.
Yeah. I don't. Oh, favorite.
That's a hard question if you've been playing games as long as I have.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like, what was it, 860 titles on the NES
Star Fox.
when it first hit first year? Yeah.
Star Fox. It's my favorite.
Fox, get this guy off me!
No, she's...
The original or 64?
Are you talking about the original or 64?
64.
I was gonna say, if you're talking about the NES version, then it's.
I like all of them.
Room jabbered.
That had such weird voices, but that's interesting because like Star Fox is one of those games where I don't know if everybody's played it, but it's really good. All right, Jen, you can't say Gmod. Okay, you can't say Gmod. So, what kind of games do you play, and what's your favorite?
Oh gosh. Well, it's kind of difficult to say. I do remember playing this one game called Pokemon Pinball back in the 90s, but on the old Game Boy Color, and yeah, that was good times. I'm not much of a gamer really. Back when I was a bit younger, I really liked racing games, like Need for Speed games, that kind of thing. On GameCube. Wow, that's a long time ago.
We're getting old.
Yeah, I used to be really good at those, but now I'm like, oh, what? How do I? Everything. But as of late, I have been, I guess, learning more about the gaming process and hearing about different games through friends. And, I say, oh, maybe I want to check this out. And, an example being Animal Crossing. I'm looking directly at my silly Philly friends right in the front row here.
Yeah, thanks, guys. She's been, stuck on that for a while. Thanks. I mean, it's one thing to have Animal Crossing. It's another thing to have Animal Crossing that has a 1 hour update for Street Pass. So it's like, I want to play this, but I don't, and I'm going to wait anyway. But, okay, so you like the handheld games? I got a question for you. Do you have PS3?
No. The only handheld game I have, the latest handheld thing, is a Nintendo something.
Nintendo. Wow, very descriptive.
3DS?
No.
3DS, DS.
DS.
It's an old one. It's an old one.
Game Boy Color.
Might be a Game
Game Boy Pocket.
Is it big and gray?
It's kind of little square silver thing.
Okay,
That's a Game Boy Pocket.
No,
No?
It had a light on it. I don't know what it is.
Game Boy Advance SP.
That was it. That was it.
There we go. We got it. We got it.
So advanced, yep.
Can I just say the Nintendo something was my favorite console of all time.
This man knows how to play games.
All right. Well, the reason why I asked the PS3 question, because I think everybody in this room will agree if they have one. Okay, who all has a PS3, first of all?
Like this half of the room?
Okay, so this is clearly the Sony side. This is the Xbox side, right? Okay.
Are there Xboxes over here? Who has an Xbox? Right. Seriously, it's down the room
No.
split?
We are not doing the Xbox One and PS4 bull crap right now, okay? I'm sorry. No, we're not doing that. Okay. But the reason why I asked that was because... okay, guys, shh.
Settle down.
All right. The reason why I asked that is because there's a certain game that came out. I think it was 2 weeks. Was it 2 weeks ago, Guild?
I think so. Are you thinking about the L one?
Yeah. Last of Us. Yeah. Really good game. Will make you cry.
How did I know that when you said PS3, this is where the conversation was going?
Hello, I'm a gamer.
Go to a corner, sit
He has a
down,
point.
try not to cry. Cry.
Sob heavily as Clementine is no. Oh, never mind. I'm not going to spoil that. I'm not going to spoil that.
Please don't. My roommate just got a PS3, and I imagine this is going to be one of his first purchases. So at the very least, I'm going to watch this.
If you don't know what Clementine is, that's from Walking Dead.
Oh, yeah.
So if you haven't played that yet, you probably should, Guild. Why are you up here again?
First episode. I've only gotten the first episode done. I'm sorry. I'm working on it. So I do have a question for the developers, though, if you'll let me.
No. Go ahead.
Okay. So one of the big things that I'm always worried about with game development and the teams that I'm trying to speak to is how they manage their teams and keep people more or less on task and make sure that things get done within certain deadlines.
You stole my question.
No, I'm not looking at your book.
Sit back now.
And that's when he just gets up and leaves.
I am a gamer. Rage quitting is not beyond me.
Just don't throw any controllers in here. I mean, we've got
There's a nice
audience.
table right here.
We have water, please. We need that.
Can we end this panel with a table flip?
I don't know. AV guys, can we end this with a table flip? No? Okay, no.
So, just my question towards the developers, how do you manage your teams, make sure things get done on time, and more or less keep people on task?
I guess I'll start. So basically, there's a kind of two parts to that, at least in our team. The first is that we typically don't publicly release many hard dates because we are all volunteers and things happen. But we do maintain an internal schedule where we basically say, by this date we would like to have these things done, and that helps people visualize the road to get from here to here, because then they can proceed to divide up their tasks and figure out how long each thing is going to take and stuff like that. And then once we have that framework, we actually have a designated team coordinator. Zeus Assassin is our team coordinator. He basically has daily contact with all the members of our team just to see how they're doing, see if they need anything, see how things are coming along, and offering motivational speeches if they need it, stuff like that. Basically, we have an internal schedule, and we have day-to-day checking in, seeing how people are doing, and that's worked so far.
Well, before I let Kit take control of that question, you are very focused on that mic, and you're not looking up here. All right, Kit,
Okay.
the same question. Go for it.
With Legends of Equestria, we have a sort of carrot stick system. We get the best results, of course, encouraging our team members with showing off their artwork. We try to do an artist showcase once a month so that people can see that the public is appreciating their hard effort. Of course, we do have an internal schedule that's always falling behind, but that's okay. And then on the stick end, well, we do have a code of conduct that every member has to agree to, and it says that if you don't keep up with your schedule, if you're not active enough, then we're going to consider removing you from the team. And we try to do that as a democratic process among the team leaders. We decide, does this person really need to be removed from the team? And if so, we let them know, and then we give them a chance to plead their case for staying on the team. And it's worked out pretty well. The people that we've had to remove, it has mostly been because they just haven't had the time because of their personal lives, and that's perfectly understandable. And as far as how well it's worked for rewarding people, it's done quite well, especially when it comes to these kinds of events. These events are fantastic for our output level. We've become extremely productive when we're preparing to open up to the public.
I just use promises of violence. Now, for Role-Playing is Magic, it's, like you guys said, the internal schedule, I mean, that's absolutely key. Our team, I don't know how spread out you guys' teams are. Ours is anywhere from Eastern Europe to Australia to all over this country. You know, bronies are from everywhere. So we've actually got a system whereby we have obviously a lead for each section. Pixel is our art direction lead, but anybody who's working on the art can either go to me or to her, and that way there's multiple ways for information to travel and filter up and down. And I mean, regular contact is very important. The project coordinator, I just do that. So I mean, that's you guys stole my my explanations, but yeah, just to echo these guys, it's pretty much the same for us.
Our internal schedules are always falling behind as well, so I think that's normal.
That's very normal. Yeah.
What schedule? I mean, seriously, like, most people don't know how time-consuming putting a piece of code in is, and it's rather difficult to find that one line that's causing your game to crash or your game to break, and it's, yeah. I've seen a C++ kill me.
It's also very similar for evaluating a design idea. Like I don't want to give like a long-winded example, but like there will be times where I have to like go through a loop of figuring out what's fun and what's not fun. I have to take it to somebody, like, I don't know, my boss or something, and then they would like be like, okay, this isn't fun, and then I'd have to go back to square one and do it all over again. So that can get very time-consuming.
Most developers I know have an internal voice that while they're coding, it will make a sailor blush. It is that bad.
Sorry, go ahead.
Go. No, you're good.
I was just going to say on the fun and not fun, another challenge that reminds me of is after tons and tons of development, I'll have played something so many times that I literally will not remember if a joke is funny or not, which is why it's always fun to have it released to see if people actually like it.
So, because Kit mentioned it just briefly, how is team morale affected and production amount affected by these public showings? When you show up to a convention and show off some of your stuff, or when you release something to the wilds of the internet?
It's a really big deal for the team to release new stuff, because when you're just working on something and something's not working or something's taking a long time or stuff like that, it's really easy to kind of just ask yourself, does anyone actually care about this? Why am I bothering? But then you show it to public and you get applause and people like it and stuff like that, and you can come back to the team and everybody's all psyched because it went off without a hitch. Everybody loves it. Things like this are basically absolutely pivotal for keeping the team going. If we didn't have any public showing between start and finish, it would be very hard to keep the team, focused and happy.
You guys get the Rochambeau for it.
Okay. Well, yes, it's a big deal, and I'd say overall the morale of a team will determine. It's one of the major determiners on whether a project will succeed or not. If your project is not able to sustain good morale, then there's going to be bad elements that come up, and ultimately the project is going to fail. So we have a section of our project that focuses solely on figuring out when we're going to do these events, which ones we're going to do, which ones we're not going to do, how we're going to do them, what we're going to present during them, which parts of the teams will benefit from the exposure, which ones won't have the exposure, so they've got to plan out when they're going to get exposure later on. So it's a big deal, figuring out how we do these events to keep the morale up.
Telltale, we can't really ask you that question. I mean, every bit of your game is kind of public. I mean, it's a public party of some sort, almost like a Mario party.
Less button mashing.
except without friends yelling at each other.
Oh,
You're
no,
not
we had
friends
that.
for long after that game.
Oh, okay.
Jeez.
I was just
That's
checking.
pretty much the fun of the game.
Mario Party is one of those games where you are not friends for long. You're playing, and all of a sudden you steal someone's coins, and you're not invited to the wedding next year. True story, actually.
No,
All right.
morale's an interesting point, though. We actually ran into that a little bit with the Season 3 edition that we just put out. We went from a team of 5 people to 10 people from the 2nd edition to the 3rd edition. So for me, it was a lot of learning how to manage a team that doubles in size. And we've just kind of organically gotten into this thing where we can't release things early. Like, we can't actually do like monthly releases, or show parties or anything, just because there's sort of a final project or final product that has to come out, and we're developing during the season. And so if something changes in the season, we have to cut things and redesign things, and it's all on this really tight schedule. But by the same token, that's kind of a blessing that we have to do it, so quickly and iterate so fast to do it, because it keeps everybody busy. But we also kind of become our own fans. Like, whenever somebody has a new illustration, a new art gets finished, we're just all super excited, and everybody shifts out of work mode for a minute and into let's all geek out about this cool stuff that just happened. And
I think that's like every project, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, everybody should be happy about what they do. If you're not, you're kind of doing the wrong thing there, I think.
Yeah, I can confirm that having worked this long with the team that we have for My Little Investigations, it's less like it's less like coworkers and more like our own community, where every time someone does something, everybody else on the team is like, oh, that's awesome, that's so great, and that really keeps us going as well.
All right, I want to ask a question to VAs because Jenny, you can wake up now. All right, so you guys have a ton of stuff you got to do. So I mean, with Tales, it's fanfic reading and some video game voices. With you, it's video game voices and Silly Philly. You guys eat up a lot of our time. Jeez. All right. So, what's the workload like for the VA? Like, do you have very strict deadlines? Do you have to do a lot of cuts and a lot of retakes? What's it like to do the voice work exactly for either a video game or animation? In your case, Jen.
Well, it really depends on the individual project. I've had projects that perhaps didn't have as many lines, but I had to do a lot of retakes, and I've had some projects where I had to do a lot of lines, but thankfully didn't have to do that many retakes. Yeah, it's very individually based, I guess. I can't really say what the average is. I don't know, it's just all very different, and I don't know, you learn something new with every project, I guess. Yeah.
Where's your tool belt at? No, Jen, where's your tool belt at? You say you learn something new every time, so is it like one of those things where you just like mentally bring it up, or do you have like notes? What your kit would be? Do you just keep notes on stuff?
kind of keep it in mind, and I'm reminding myself as they come up, with every project. I'm like, oh yeah, this happened last time. I should bring it up and talk about it.
All right.
Yeah, or at least ask ahead of time what I should do. Like, oh, what format do you want this audio, or what's the deadline, or what kind of, or what settings do you want when I'm recording? What mood, that kind of thing.
Oh, basic voice direction?
Voice direction, yeah. And, audio settings.
You must have the best memory that I've ever seen.
I don't know about that, but it works when it wants to.
I can't even remember what time I woke up.
I don't know how it works here in Seattle, but I know in Indiana the sun isn't up before 5, and it seems like something is going on here that came out of my nightmares, because 4 in the morning should not have sunlight beaming in my window.
In addition to being the team coordinator, Zeus Assassin is also basically the guy on the team who remembers things, so other people on the team don't have to quite as much.
All right, Tails. I'm going to ask you a question that I don't know if I don't know too much about, because I really haven't watched all your fanfic reviews and fanfic readings. What's it like to get into character? What's it like to do those fanfic readings?
I don't know. I just, like I said, I just asked for a script, and I'm like, okay, I send people my SoundCloud and such, and I'm like, okay, this is what I can do of main cast. OCs, you'll have to direct me. And then I just kind of get a script, and then I don't usually read, I usually read it as the character for the first time. I just kind of imagine the character, you have to imagine yourself as the character, because it's not you imitating a voice. This is your natural voice and what you always sound like. And so it's, yeah.
Don't be bashful. They're not going to bite. You're not going to bite, right, bronies? Well, no. I heard 2 yeses. You might want to run.
Don't
answer so reluctantly.
Yeah, just you're not gonna bite right now. Well,
you're like, no.
Can we bite? Is that a thing we can do? I don't know.
I don't know if it's a Tuesday and you.
Well, technically it's Saturday. All right, so everything that I have been stressing for a long time, if you've ever followed the Blue Screen Bronies podcast, is music, music, music. It has to have good music. Everybody remembers Nobuo Uematsu. Nobody remembers the sound director on Fallout 2. Yes, I brought it up. I'm sorry.
Who's the sound director for Call of Duty?
Exactly. What sound?
Hey guys, who made the music for Fighting His Magic?
That's one. There you go. Got 2.
Exactly. Like
Whitetail and Rainbow Crash. Everybody remembers good music. Everybody remembers good music that goes with the game. However, if music doesn't go with the game, sometimes it can work, sometimes it can't. I mean, you don't play raid music while you're playing solitaire.
Yeah.
That is one epic game of solitaire.
Through the fire and the flames while you're playing solitaire. Through the fire and the flames.
Yeah, just got a queen.
We are the queen. I don't know what you do, but I play 2 steps while I'm doing my taxes.
I need a picture of Picard up here, please, Sat. All right, so sound is definitely the biggest thing to games. Good sound, bad sounds. I mean, everybody can turn off very annoying sounds real quickly because, yeah, we've all heard the 13 different noises that a light gun can make with little kids. So no, we don't need to hear those again. We're going to go right down the line here, basically. Sounds, music, what kind of what kind of inspiration for games do you take from? What kind of composers do you take from to make those games? This is for the VAs too. What kind of music kind of sticks with you the best? Which one can you recall from memory that being like really good? So, game developers, what do you do about sound and music? Does it include you? Really? You make games, don't you? Yeah. Then I guess it includes you.
Oh no, I'm out of place at this panel.
Oh, I'm sorry.
The one time Kalen doesn't want to talk is
the
on
one
music.
time.
I said music, not Skrillex.
Can we throw mics?
No.
Okay. Unless that's Pony for yes, I guess we can.
Okay, I want to imitate Draft a little bit. This is a no.
God, these people are no fun.
Do I look like Pinkie Pie? I mean, seriously.
I made this party just
I
for
could
no.
get a bucket of pink paint. I'm certain we can find enough pink to make you look like Pinkie Pie.
Hi, I'm Draco, and I hosted this panel just for you. Could you find enough pink to make me look like Pinkie Pie?
Perhaps a chocolate-covered Pinkie Pie.
Oh, come on!
Oh, okay. Bromance aside here, let's get to the question at hand. Sound direction, how important is it for your games? That includes music and for the VAs also. Again, what music or like sounds do you remember the most from the video games that you've played? I guess that's going to be Animal Crossing for you, Jen. So take it away, Geldshot and Kalen. No beatboxing.
Fine.
Fitting the moment. Any music that generally fits the moment is the stuff that I remember very well. With the high note being that anything that has been perfectly crafted for the climax of whatever is happening in a game works really well. We all remember in Halo 2 that point when Breaking Benjamin broke out and we're just rocking along fighting some hunters. Likewise, there are times when you may have been playing World of Warcraft and you had some awesome background music, or you just turned it off and didn't hear the background music at all. If you have the music playing right, people will remember it, especially when they get to that really awesome moment when you're making them feel as good as they want to or as bad as they want to. So, Ludwig?
Sound is actually a very integral part of a game experience. It goes along with the art and the planning and the programming. I can think of various examples off the top of my head. Everybody here is familiar with Super Mario, right? You're familiar with both themes, the da 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 and the ha ha. Okay,
that's not that.
Okay, so right, so sounds like that, sounds that have good melodies and have unique builds and ways that things are progressed and the ways that the synths can interact with each other, is something that's very key. And to go along with what Geld said, something that matches the moment as well, right? So if I were to do sounds, I've done sounds in a few projects, but like if I were to do sounds, you would have to look at the art, look at the environment, and be like, what sounds could you make that could possibly match this? And for my opinion at the moment, because I have 1,000 thoughts going through my head right now, something with a really good melody, something that can really make you just remember that game, is also a very integral part of it.
Well, the number of new things to say is kind of drying up, but I would definitely have to echo that the single most important part of music is definitely just that it fits the scene. That it basically in any game or soundtrack in general, the primary purpose of the music is to make you feel the things that the person who designed it wants you to feel. Basically, yeah, tongue-tied. Successful music is stuff that does that. However, I would also touch on that sound effects are also a very underrated part of the experience as well. After Milo Investigations put out our first demo, we more or less unanimously agreed that we needed a sound guy to put together stuff, because the effective sound effects is really the more effective it is, the more you don't even really think about it. But like with like Ace Attorney games, you have like little dings when someone realizes something, or like smacks when somebody has been presented with incontrovertible evidence and stuff like that. And you don't really notice it at the time, but if you remove it, the absence of it is extremely palpable. So yeah, I would echo everything they say about music, and also pitch and the sound effects are extremely important.
Silence is worth 1,000 words, with or without it.
Can we just imagine an Ace Attorney game for a second without the sound effects and having one of the guys just like double back in shock? Just
Yeah, because then you're just yelling at a DS with nothing back. It's like, hold it!
Hold it!
What's going on here? There's nothing. What? Gotta make your own sound effects. What is this, 1950s?
Yeah, Shay.
All right, Jen.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with everything that you're saying.
But what's your favorite?
What?
What's the one that's most memorable to you? And like I said, I can't use Animal Crossing.
I've never played Animal Crossing.
Oh.
I was saying earlier that I've basically lost all my friends to Animal Crossing. That's what I'm saying.
So what you're saying is you're getting it tomorrow, right?
If they'll probably make me. I guess the games with music that make me feel like I'm actually in the game. Like, I'm trying to think back to my earlier days when I did play more games. What? Oh yeah, animation.
Well, I mean, everybody remembers Pokemon music. I mean, you must have played that.
Sorry, could you repeat?
Pokemon music, everybody remembers that, so you must have played that.
The only Pokemon game I've played is pinball, but I'm really.
Someone get this girl a Pokemon Red cartridge, please. Please. There you go, Jen. You get to play some Pokemon Red right there.
All right. Yeah, but music is extremely important. I'm reiterating what everyone here is saying. But yeah, it sometimes with an animation or a game, the music itself just brings me into that world, and I get this like thrill in my head, and I'm like, oh my goodness, I could like dance, but not really. I'll just dance in my head to this, or because I'm part of this new world, and that's what really sticks with me.
Okay.
Yeah, and I've had that before. Even sometimes with games, I'm thinking back to my Need for Speed playing.
Well, they've had good music.
Yeah,
so.
like I'm just thinking, I loved Underground. And it had kind of like generic like rap music, but even still, it fit with the game. And when I was listening to that, I was like, yeah, I'm totally like gangsta or something like that.
Princess Celestia up into his house.
At some point in time, I'd really like to hear Gangsta Celestia.
Yo, yo, yo!
Hold on.
Yo.
Hey, Silly Philly, can we make that happen?
It's going on our ideas list.
All right. It'll be out next year.
What have I done?
Oh, no.
MLP OGs.
Oh, Hannah's gonna be all over this.
Yeah, I don't know why I'm asking you game questions. You're not exactly the gamer Luna we all know. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
No, Hannah would. Yeah, she voices gamer Luna, but neither of us are really.
And other things. We won't talk about that.
I'm not. Yeah, that's all I'm saying.
All right, Kit. Music.
Music for Legends of Equestria. Well, we are very fortunate having Andrew Francis. He's an awesome music composer. He leads our sound department. He assembled a fantastic group of music composers, voice actors, and sound effects people. And I'd say when you go to each area in the land of Equestria, it's not just what you see that introduces you to a new area. It's also what you hear. So you see the scene, you hear the music, and that music brings you in. It introduces you to a new experience. So yeah, it's absolutely vital to have music that is compelling for the player. as far as my favorite music from a video game, it'd have to be Final Fantasy III, which I think was Final Fantasy VIII in Japan. Is
Six.
that-
You mean six here?
Yeah,
Yeah,
six,
Super
that was
Final
three,
Fantasy.
and two that was actually 5.
Yes, whatever those numbers are.
2 is 4.
Basically, yeah.
I'm sorry.
So basically, on my cartridge, it says Final Fantasy III, and
Yeah, it's Final Fantasy VI.
yeah, whenever I listen to that, it almost brings me to tears.
Well, you know, Stephen Andrews did a Kafka remix, right?
What about Kafka?
Stephen Andrews, you know, the orchestrator for My Little Pony. I think there's My Little Pony fans in here. I'm not sure. I see some Homestuck, Rabbit Guy. I don't know, toothpaste man over here. I don't know what that is.
We're actually at a convention for florists.
What? Wait. You mean this isn't the Honda convention? I'm in the wrong place.
Yeah. I was just assuming that they're all here for your glowing personality.
You're so sweet. Oh. Anyway, I think we're actually doing pretty good because we're making my co-host smile, and he doesn't smile ever, like ever. All right, so I would ask you, Tail, about music, but it's kind of hard to make paper do music.
Yeah, about the only sounds that we hear are the sound of Skype as we're talking back and forth. But no, actually, on the note of good music, I think probably the most brilliant sound design that I've encountered was Fallout 3 and Fallout New Vegas, because they managed to make mostly because they managed to make the music part of the game, just with the radio, and that you could turn it on and off, and it had that quality that it was in the world and it was all, you know, kind of old style music and that sort of thing, and that there was a whole radio presence to it. And just I'm very much the kind of person where if it's a game where music doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me, I guess, if it's not terribly immersive, then I'll turn it off. Like, I generally play Skyrim without music. Just, I like the other sounds and that you can play it by itself. And I just like that in Fallout that was completely normal and you didn't have to go to an options setting kind of thing to do it.
I
thought that was
personally
really
love
brilliant.
President Eden. I mean, just sitting there talking about all this stuff that you have no idea what is going on. But his voice was just enthralling.
Please, keep talking.
I will if you want me to. But anyway, no. But yeah, music is amazing, and I can't tell you how many times we listened to a techno song called Popcorn, playing D&D. Oh, dear God, that CD drove me nuts after an hour. But Tails,
Yeah.
music, what's your favorite, or one that sticks out the most to you, music-wise or sound direction-wise?
Probably battle themes in games. Yeah.
Can you give me one in specific here? Because there's like, I could start going down the list, and we could take 3 hours going down the list if you want to.
The thing is, I don't have a favorite battle theme. I'm just saying that they tend to stick out. But I think my favorite video game music would be from Sonic 2, because that was one of my first video games.
Oh, yeah. You know, I still had the Casino Night song stuck in my head, but that's mainly because of Sonic Generations more than anything. All right, so we got to kind of wrap this up a little bit here. I want to take some audience questions if they have any. Does anybody have audience questions? Okay, go ahead and line up here. I'll bring the mic over to you guys.
Before we go on, can I say just like 2 quick things?
No.
Aww.
Sure.
I was going to say, like, back to sound design, 2 things that just kind of popped up while everybody was talking about is, who here is familiar with the Jet Set Radio game? That had some awesome music. I still listen to the Funky Dealer. 3, 2, 1, 4, and another one that was really good was the Left 4 Dead games, because they made sound a part. They made sound an actual game mechanic. Like, when you hear sounds, you know something's about to happen.
All right, we got our first question here.
This is for the voice actors. When you're doing your bits and so forth, I do some podcasts and I've done some voices too. But one thing I found was when I'm doing a conversation with myself, I have to actually record one side. Is that same for you folks? If you're talking to yourself, so to speak, do you have to do just one voice at a time, or how do you have any tricks for getting back into a voice after a while?
Did you try the first? generally, when I get a script, I only have one voice to do. Well, if I'm recording, I do all of one voice at the same time. But if I'm practicing, then I sometimes swap to make sure that they sound different enough. Because I don't want them to all sound the same. So, let's see.
I'll do whatever you want, Rainbow Dash.
Yeah, you don't have to be shy, but you can give them some Gilda if you want. I like your Gilda.
I can't think of a line for Gilda.
Oh, you're just shy.
Yeah.
How about you're such a flip-flop?
You are such a flip-flop. Cool 1 minute and lame the next.
That's pretty good, wasn't it, guys? All right, Jen, he asks a question for the VAs. VAs is plural.
Well, I do the same thing. If I'm playing more than one character, I tend to do one in one go and the other in another, whatever I'm recording next. Because sometimes they bleed into each other, and especially if one voice is more difficult than the other. Like, say if this one time I had to do Spike and Celestia in one project. And so Spike is more difficult for me. Celestia I can sort of hop into right off the bat by now, but sometimes I would have to watch it because sometimes my Spike would start sounding like Celestia, and it was a really weird combination.
Let the fanfics begin.
Spike Lestia.
Basically.
New Tumblr idea. Spike Lestia.
Jen, what you're saying is that if I say this to JJ, he's going to draw it like now? All right. We have one more, or not one more. We got a ton of questions, actually. I have bad vision outside of my glasses. I'm sorry. All right.
This question is for the project leads and the people working on the projects. I know you said you don't like to give solid dates, and that's totally understandable. But do you have any ETAs on when your projects are going to be done? Because I'm really looking forward to my little investigations.
At this point, the only thing that I would like to say is fairly soon. When we released our first demo, about a week before we were releasing it, we released a video saying, hey, this is going to go up on May 5th. And then we ran into some technical difficulties, and I literally had to stay up for 39 hours straight to get the demo ready for May 5th. When we get, we're fairly close, and we're almost at the point where we'll be ready to lock into a date. But yeah, not yet.
In video game production, dates don't matter. Anybody remember Halo 2? Halo 3? How many times did we get pushed back?
2 years later.
Oh, sorry. Every game. Half-Life 3 does not exist. But we can go next door and find out from Gabe. All right. Same question to you, Kit.
Okay. For Legends of Equestria, I can say no. Yeah,
That's not a production date.
Oh, okay. We want to release our game to you all as quickly as we can. But there's no date. We really can't do that.
He needs a calendar. No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. No, it's very hard to do MMOs. Tall Tale. I don't even know how to begin yours because that's a lot of writing.
Yeah, well, I mean, the third edition's out. I'm actually here after the panel. I'm going to be running a preview of what we've got so far for the fourth season edition. But we're at the mercy of the show because everything has to come from the
So it's got
show.
Flufflepuff in it, right?
What's that?
Flufflepuff? Pink
character
fluffy
idea.
unicorns
Stop
dancing
giving
on
away our stuff.
rainbows.
Now you have to put her in.
All right.
Yeah, so probably
All right, thank
a
you.
year. That's our time frame.
Yeah. All right. Next question.
So I've been trying to make games for about 6 years when I was just a little kid, and I always got to maybe somewhat half-finished engine, and then I'd hit a snag and I'd stop. And I'm kind of curious, have you hit a snag, and what did you do to get around it?
that for like all of us?
All of us. Voice actors, whatever, make something up.
Make something up. I think it's time for the octopus questions.
Spaghetti. The first thing I would suggest is don't make your own engine unless you have a lot of people. But I imagine you've kind of run into that advice already. A lot.
I use other stuff now, like like multimedia fusion. There's stuff in there, but I mean how does the character move around, sort of stuff, like messing with it.
Mostly, it's going back to that whole thing about scope where you try to keep track of what your goals are and get things done that are reasonable. It's not having projects that are capable for you to get done yourself within a reasonable amount of time is important, because then you can get a little bit of momentum working up and work to bigger projects. If you get a goal down that's like, I want to get this simple game done within a month, and then I'm going to repeat that, you can step that up later to 2 months, and then you can get people who actually do want to join you on bigger projects and make bigger things happen. That's my suggestion.
All right, I just want to remind everybody, we got 15 minutes before the panel's over, so short, sweet answers, please. That means you, Kalen.
Oh, okay. I'm terribly, terribly sorry. Most of my
Better
advice
be.
kind of agrees with Gel, but on the idea of advice in general, like when you're making something or making any sort of project and you're taking advice about what to do, you have to keep in mind that like everyone and their mother has an opinion of how you should move next. So back to your actual question, which I just forgot.
Do you hit snags, and how do you resolve it?
Okay, when you hit a snag in any sort of project, whether it be design or programming, sometimes you either have to just try to figure it out like as best as you can by approaching it from different perspectives, or B, just drop it for a while, take a step back, just take a deep breath, and then just kind of go back into it. That's how I've usually approached it, and that's how I've done it for a while.
Yeah, I'd mostly in the general sense, if you're just wanting to start making a game, probably the two biggest suggestions that I'd say are first and foremost, make a game that you want to play, because if you're just getting started, it's unlikely that this is going to be a runaway smash commercial success. So the most important thing is basically just having a thing that you want to play, and that will basically make it so that first off you can make the game for yourself, so you basically know how it wants to go. Second, you're going to be interested in the subject matter, which is extremely important, because if you're making a game and you don't actually, if you're making a game for other people, you're probably going to just get burnt out and not stop caring. The second one that I'd say is to echo the statements about scope, which is to say that I know someone who has tons of great ideas and gets them started, and then they get bigger and bigger and bigger, and she just never finishes as a result.
Yeah. The stories I have.
Yeah. So basically, I guess the general points that I'd make are, make a game that you would want to play, and then make a game that you'd want to play and keep it short and simple, so you can have something in your portfolio that you can be proud of. And to answer the specific question about a snag, I would mostly echo. For me personally, I find just dropping it and coming back to it helps a lot, because if you aren't immediately thinking about something, then your brain often is still processing it, but just in a different fashion. So a lot of my best ideas came just randomly when I was walking, just walking somewhere.
Shower ideas.
Yes, and in the shower.
Right.
Gabu, not to make fun of you, but we asked for short. You gave us the War and Peace version.
I know. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
And you thought I would do that.
I was afraid you were going to beatbox it.
Oh, sorry.
All right, go ahead, Jen.
So for voice actor, it really depends on the snag. Sometimes you have too much going on, and you just have to pace yourself in that instance. Or sometimes you have a voice, and it's not really working for you. Sometimes it takes a bit of time to do a bit of preparation for that voice, or think about the character if it's an original voice. Just think about who the character is, what their backstory is, what kind of voice they would have because of that. And I guess make it fun for yourself. Do something interesting and new. Challenge yourself every now and then. And just keep pushing forward, I'd say. It really depends on the snag, though.
Yeah. Got any specific situations?
Specific situations for a snag, for like voice acting, or?
There's only like a million to choose from. Go ahead.
Okay.
I mean, you've only got 9 minutes.
Okay, let's see.
Your time's up.
Yeah.
There you go.
I know. All right. We're gonna go ahead and move on to the next question because we only got time for 2 more. All right, guys. So 2 really good questions. They're not about that.
I had a good one on that one too.
Yeah, we got time for 2 more questions, and we got was it awards ceremony for a game jam or something? I don't know. I don't know. I am making this up as I go right now. No one can notice. All right, so we need 2 really good questions, and we are going to go on to the game jam winner. So go ahead.
All right, this is kind of a question for the developers. I'm a prospective game designer myself, and I was wondering if you had any advice for navigating the lines between like licensing and fan art and that sort of thing for this sort of game.
Geld, you're not allowed to crack up. Like, at all.
Man.
You're the one that cracked
Well,
a
gee,
smile.
Mr. CEO.
All right, so what's the short version of your question again?
Just like, how do you do you have any advice for navigating licensing?
Okay. All right, so basically you don't want to get hit with trademark or copyright issues, right? Okay, so how do you avoid the legal stuff so you don't get C&D'd by Nintendo of America?
Don't poke the bear.
Find a lawyer who's really good at that stuff.
Yes.
And then talk to him every day.
So everybody in Las Vegas right now.
Yeah, right at the beginning of your project, set it as a goal that you're not going to infringe on anything, and yes, get a legal expert, and make sure you start off on that right foot.
Yeah, because we all know what happened to Main 6. But, hold on.
You had to bring that
Hold
up here.
on. Yeah, I had to bring it up because, they kind of got C&D'd, but now they're working with Lauren Faust, so,
It's a bittersweet ending.
So, but yeah. Yeah, they do have the Skullgirls engine. You're right. Which is going to be amazing. All right. Does that answer your question?
Yeah.
All right. Oh, wait, here, hold on. We got ourselves a little game mod here. He made the derpy Link to the Past game mod here. So, there we
Bro, before you even ask your question, I just want to say, good job.
Thank you. Yeah, actually, I wanted to be here last year and show it off, but couldn't make it. Anyway, my question actually kind of has to do with that. It's mainly for the developers, I guess. What's your opinion on like ponifications, like Pony Fantasy VI, the Mega Pony? And when you design your games, do you design them in the spirit of those more classic games and what we were raised with, frankly? Do you hearken back to that?
From the games that I've seen and the ideas that the gaming cults have had for like designing games, a lot of classic elements from games that have been like, I don't know, Sonic 2-esque games have emerged. And to answer your question directly, yes. Like for me personally, a lot of elements from classic games end up in my designs because I really like those elements.
Yeah, I don't think any game is designed in a vacuum. Everything's going to be pulled from past things and things that you loved and that sort of thing.
Yeah, classic games are classic because they did a lot of things right. So anybody designing a game who doesn't consult, what previous games did right is probably going to have a bad time.
Right. In our game, there are going to be mini games inside there, and you'll immediately recognize them. They'll be like, if you've ever played an Atari 2600, you'll recognize these games. Just they'll be ponified.
Is that it?
Pretty much. Also, I think this question was probably also asked about the music that would go into the games. Would you want to harken back to some of those older, sort of more classic beats, or do you want to have more of a contemporary sound? Or?
If you listen to any of my older stuff, you will find that a lot of it sounds like Mega Man.
Oh, perfect.
I think I want to speak for everybody and say that no matter how many times you listen to it, Nobuo Uematsu sounds like Nobuo Uematsu. Doesn't matter if it's 1986 or 2003. But, I mean, good music doesn't have a time. I mean, last night's concert with Michelle was a lot of 20s, 50s, and 40s music, so. All right. Let's give him a round of applause because there's not a lot of game mods around here. All right. One last question because this is a good one and I couldn't let it get by. And then Geld's going to show off some Game Jam stuff.
Okay, so we know sound effects and music are really important. So, but what about story?
Story is very important. Have you ever played Final Fantasy, my good sir?
Lost Odyssey's better.
Having
Give me that.
having said that,
I would actually. Yeah, I was going to say that the extent to which story matters, I think, is largely dependent on the type of game you're playing. Like Super Mario Brothers, for example, is still a wonderful game. The story is you go do some things, and it's not really clear what the story of the original Super Mario Brothers is, besides just rescuing a princess.
Eat mushrooms, raid castles. That's what it's about.
And it's been the same thing for 20 years, and we still enjoy it.
Yeah, so basically, like, RPG, it sounds tautological, but if a game's genre is story-focused, then the story matters more than if it's not.
Well, and story, though, even the most finely crafted story, you have to leave a lot of room open for understanding that whatever story the player's going to play, the story has to be the player's story and how they approach things. And so it has to be personal and not you're just playing someone else's, life.
Yeah, because we all know about Final Hallway 13.
Yeah.
That was the best hallway simulator I've ever seen. Is that it for your question? Yeah, that's it. All right. All right, thank you for the audience questions. We're going to get to the game jam here real quick. Let me put the microphone back so Gel can use it, even though I don't want him to.
All right. I'm actually really excited to see these videos. Well, you go ahead and take it.
Okay. I know you guys all want to hear my voice. Oh, okay, cool. I get to steal a seat. I have usurped the Draco.
You didn't usurp, I let you have it.
That's what you think. So.
No, it's mine. You don't get it.
Okay.
Go.
So, over the past, couple months, we've been planning this game jam called the Crystal Games Challenge. And in fact, we do have some devs in the audience here if you want to stand up and be recognized.
Please give these guys a round of applause.
Culmination of this was about 2 weeks ago. For 48 hours, we had people in an IRC chat working on games to more or less make games. No other reason that, just having fun making games, meeting new people. The categories that we had for this included having an excellent game, winning the category of sound, art, and gameplay. The game we have playing right now is a game called Sea Pony Dash. It was made by some of the team members from Legends of Equestria.
Yes, Anya's not here.
Yeah,
She's helping downstairs.
Anya's not here. Oh, sad.
So possible minigame, right?
You're wandering around in Everfree and think you're in the ocean.
Sea Pony Dash won the category of art, and it has this, not art, sound.
Okay, plug it in.
Awesome. Well, you hadn't plugged it earlier on me. Do you have the sound on here?
I unplugged it because I don't know why. I don't think things through. Viral can attest to this. Raise your hand if you think I think things through, Viral. He's not raising his hand. So.
Do you have the sound on here from the?
Hey, AV guys, can we get the sound on the computer real quick? I mean, it's only it's only 2:30. I mean.
Oh well. Well, it has if you go down to the games room, you can actually play it and annoy everyone with an awesome Sea Ponies remix.
Everyone's a sea pony.
So?
I'll just say on behalf of LOE, trust me, it's mind-blowing. You've never experienced anything like it before.
Geld, I want to show you how to do a microphone and audio. You run a podcast, right? I mean,
Geldshot, master programmer, ladies and gentlemen.
Give a round of applause for audio right there. Sound guys are on it. Even though Gelden.
I have never written that down. Now, next game we got is a game called Quick Spell. Quick Spell is a great little game. You sit across from Trixie, or if you're Twilight, you sit across from.
Two-player game, in other words.
Yeah, it's a two-player game. One player has the up, down, left, right keys, and the other player has the WASD keys. You just fire spells at each other and try to block. We like this game so much in terms of art and gameplay that it actually won both of those categories. You can play it again. I suggest bring a friend and try to win or lose the battle. It is
Great and powerful tricks and always wins.
It is just a little bit addicting, and we do have a new build specifically for Everfree Northwest. They went through and updated it all, and other games that updated the build. Okay. Of note, Parasprite Herding.
Oh, I loved this game.
I've seen a lot of people playing this game actually in the video game.
Yeah, it's very simple reenactment of the Parasprite panic that happened at Ponyville. The theme for this game jam was the Olympics, so this was considered to be a. Could you not figure out how to use Twilight?
Okay.
No, I couldn't figure out how to use Twilight.
First of all, this was the one that had the exact opposite of a tutorial. It had none. So second of all, I was kind of just messing around with the controls because I wanted to see what was going on. But the one thing I can notice about this, there's no sound.
The updated version does in fact have sound. Like if you look, Pinkie Pie has this whole little track thing with the Parasprites. Yeah, Parasprite Polka will play when you start pulling them around. And I want to say.
Please show the
think that's
jousting.
all.
Please show the.
Quickspell gave us a new build, and so did
I think you need to show one of the runners-up pie shoot because there are people literally
downstairs playing
fighting
that
in
game.
line to get a high score.
Yeah, that needs to be a game.
Like this
There
is
are-
something like Missile Command. If you're old enough, if you're not old enough, I don't even know what to compare it to.
I like the story premise to this game because the whole idea is that unicorns apparently have this accuracy contest with shooting spells. Well, apparently the targets got swapped out with pies. Well, the announcer is kind of wondering why his paper that told him this smells like cotton candy.
Our artist really liked playing this game. And as far as gameplay goes, we had like an argument over Quick Spell or this game because it was just they were both so much fun to play. And it really warmed my heart. I'm sure it would warm the developer's heart too to see that there were people fighting downstairs just to beat their high score. This needs to be a game.
I was ready to buy this one guy one more level t-shirt. It was that bad. Now this is like, I don't know. This is kind of interesting because it's game jams go on everywhere, like at PAX, at I think there was one at Anime Comic-Con. I think.
I think so. Yeah.
I think. There's too many to remember. But anyway, yeah. There's a lot of. Oh, you haven't seen nothing.
You have
this
not
guy,
seen it. Wait till he gets to 80.
Okay, yeah. At 80, this entire side of the screen is completely filled with pies.
Right? As soon as it gets 80, you just swear that there are 1,000 archers just firing pies on the other side of the screen.
I'm going to warn everybody right now, if you have little kids with you, do not take them in there if you see someone hit the 70 mark, because after 80, you're going to hear some words that you don't want them to learn.
Don't want them to learn. It's just fair warning.
But this is an amazing idea. I like to see game jams, mainly because it helps developers learn their trick of the trade, but it also helps people get good game ideas. Like someone might take this, like, and use it for their own.
Oh, don't worry, we're working on it.
Look at those guys in the audience, okay?
But I got a question here. Has anybody played a really good game that they can never put down, ever, at all, and keep replaying it? Pokemon doesn't count. Hey, Jen, you got a fan.
You got a fan?
Yeah, there's a lot of games out there. The main thing to do with games is fun. We don't play Duke Nukem Forever, do we? I'm sorry, I can't hear you. Okay, all right.
Duke Nukem forever.
It doesn't matter which version of Forever it is, it sucks.
No matter how many forevers you add onto it.
Oh, no, I'm not talking about that one. I'm talking, and the most Nukems that most people remember is Duke Nukem 3D or Duke Nukem 64. And those were fun. Those were fun, interesting, even though my parents didn't want me to play it. That was fun. But the issue is most games nowadays are less and less fun. I think Eagle Raptor summed it up the best when he says that an increasing number of times the player says, yeah, I get it, every day. So yeah, I just said Eagle Raptor.
Mega Man, shut up!
I don't know, you gotta beat some love, we'll get to the end there. Riding on cars! But yeah, it's one of those things where there's either a lack of gameplay or everything else overtakes gameplay. Final Fantasy 13 had beautiful music. It was beautiful art. I didn't like the fact that I was going down the hallway faster than the Choose Your Own Destiny, what was that, Adventure series?
Hey, Gil.
Yeah, back in the 80s. Yeah, no.
Hey, Gil, before we wrap up the panel, can we show the shot put one that had the really interesting mouse mechanic?
I don't know if I grabbed that one.
Grab that one.
Wait, right there. Oh, okay, never.
There were 2 shot puts.
So I'll describe it. There was a shot put game that used a really, really interesting mechanic. It had you swirl the mouse around.
If you're going to describe this, you need to make this interesting, so use a voice.
Once, in the game, you had to swirl the mouse around. Then you had to shoot it up as fast as you can. And the faster you shot the mouse up, the further the ball went. You played as Twilight Sparkle, voiced by Tara Strong, who inherently voices everything. And that's pretty much the game.
Don't quit your day job. But yeah, everybody remembers a good game. I know I bought Blue Dragon just because nobody in Matsu did the music. There's a lot of reasons why you can buy a game if you enjoy it that much. If the music keeps you enthralled, heck, I played Lineage 2 for 2 years, and that grind fest killed me physically. But I had good people to play with. It all depends on what you do. I mean, Mario Party is a good, sometimes if you want to keep your friends, good game. But there's also games like Smash Brothers. Everybody loves Smash Brothers. Everybody loves Marvel vs. Capcom 3. But
Wii Fit Trainer.
Wii Fit Trainer. No, okay.
Yeah, there's a motto that I can't say on this panel that has been going around the internet like wildfire. Talk, get fit. Fill in the blanks. But
Final Fight.
I know for a fact that, and my co-host Crescendo from EFN is going to freak out that I called her out on here. But she fangirled so hard about Mega Man, she blew out my headphones.
My Facebook wall was Mega Man Kingdom after that video was announced. And I hate them for it.
There's a difference, though, between fanboying and constructive criticism when it comes to games, because you have games that really need the criticism to work better, and you also have the people that are like, oh, Call of Duty's the best game. No, it's not. It is not always the best game ever.
Oh my god, I'm in a firefight. Which one of these buttons isn't crouch?
In fact, best game is a bit of a misnomer, because there's a lot of games that are great for different reasons that you enjoy differently.
Like here's for example, Final Fantasy VII is one of my favorite top games because everybody remembers their first Final Fantasy, and that was it. Final Fantasy had a good mechanic with materia. I think you guys that played Final Fantasy VII remember the materia system. That was very interesting. It was unique, and it caught people's attention. But everybody please take away this if you take away anything. Good games will last in your memory, and they have a combination of things that go together. Music, sound, voice, sometimes voice. It doesn't always have that voice, but music, sound, story, and graphics sometimes.
Another thing they should take away before we wrap up the panel is talk to the developers. We listen.
Feedback's always important. I mean, there's constructive feedback, and there's fanboying like, oh, I love your game. That's not really helpful. But I love your game, but this one part was very quirky for me, and you say why. They can fix it, make it better, and make it a better game for everybody. So that pretty much wraps up Games Ponies Play. And Geld, if you could. We're going to drop this like it's hot in 1990 with some music here that I have been complaining about all day. And thank you for coming.
Everybody wants to be a master. Everybody wants to show their